Hey guys, quick question for you. Why wait until it's too late to leave the West, headed to Africa? Let's talk about that when I return on the Eric McNeal Be Free Show.
Black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Hey guys, welcome. You've just discovered the Eric McNeal Be Free Show, where it's all about being financially independent, responsible for self, enjoying life and empowering others. Free. So today I was just thinking to myself, why do we wait until the last minute on everything, basically? And what I'm talking about is us waiting to leave the West, because you will eventually have to leave the West. Because they're forcing you. They're shaking up the grand chessboard, and life is going to become very difficult, right? So eventually you're gonna have to do something, right? So yeah, so I said, why wait until it's too late? Why not just go ahead and begin your journey, right? Go ahead and plan for your journey, because it's gonna happen. Well, it may not happen if you over 40. It may not happen. You know, you may not be forced out, but your children, right? You have to think about your children next 50 to 100 years. Why not just go ahead and lay some roots in Africa? You know, go ahead and establish yourself there so that your heirs will have somewhere to go, because they gonna have to go somewhere. You know, when America was growing as a country, right? It's just a small little country, and gaining its independence from Great Britain, and Europeans started to flock to this new world, America, and because they were essentially escaping political persecution and religious persecution and starvation and poverty, in hopes that they could find better opportunity in America. And that's where all the Europeans just started to come to America, you know, around the 1800s or so, the 19th century, that is. And so, and as this was happening, the political cloud and, you know, the power of Great Britain just slowly deteriorated, Now, it didn't disappear. You still have the UK and Great Britain today, right? It didn't disappear. But it did lose its status as like this only world superpower, and then it started sharing that superpower status, and then it eventually lost its superpower status. And all along the way, those people who were part of Great Britain, you know, they seen their lives changed, because you have this great big superpower all of a sudden losing its status. That means everything changes. So that's the same thing that we are beginning to witness with the United States. We're beginning to witness that. So as the United States goes through these changes and begins to kind of lose its or give away some of its superpower status and share it with China, a lot is going to happen. And then eventually losing its superpower status. So the people who live within the United States, they benefit from the United States being this big behemoth and, you know, only world superpower, and you know, got the petrodollar, the world reserve currency. So you have to ask yourself, what happens when the US dollar loses its status as the world reserve currency? It means that, well, one, they can't get that cheap stuff from China no more. Like right now, you know, America's able to, well, not only from China, but from, you know, other places around the world, but basically they're able to dictate how much they would pay for things. And so as a result, you get all your electronics and things like that, these big screen TVs for like a steal, right? It's because you have the world reserve currency. And you can tell, you know, because they need the US dollars to settle, you know, with international money. They need US dollars. So when they send you all these gadgets on the cheap, it allows them to get the US dollars. But now, countries like China, Russia are beginning to bypass the US dollar as the world reserve currency, and is telling countries, you can use like China and Russia develop their own type of money transfer system, so they don't have to go through the so-called Bank of International Settlements and use the US dollar as the currency to settle, you know, wire transfers. They got their own systems. They can bypass it now. And they can work with countries to say, okay, we can settle in the euro, or we can settle in the yuan, which, you know, we can settle in other currencies. And when normally they call it the petrodollar, because in order to purchase oil, you had to use the dollar. Like the U.S. is like, if you not using this U.S. dollar to sell oil, something gonna happen to your leaders in your country. So they force countries to use the U.S. dollar for protection, like the mafia. So you can see what happened to Saddam Hussein in Iraq, right? When he wanted to bypass the U.S. dollar. You can see what happened over there in Venezuela. They wanted to sell them oil without the U.S. dollar. You can see what happened to Muammar Gaddafi, you know. So yeah, the U.S. is like, hey, you're going to use this dollar, but now you have players like China and Russia saying, no, it's a different story. You can't just go in there and boom, 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 you know, just bomb them like you do in other countries. So you got some very serious dynamics that are setting themselves up at play. And all of that, it basically means that eventually there's going to be a war. Eventually there is going to be a war. Eventually America will find itself, well, I say America's people, faced with starvation and poverty, faced with all the problems that the Europeans saw that drove them away from Europe to America. Political problems, religious problems. Yeah, you're being set up for that. Famine, disease, right? That's what you're going to be faced with. And once you're faced with that, it's like, do you have any roots laid somewhere else where you can leave and say, I'm leaving on the next plane and I'm not coming back again. Get you a one-way ticket. I'm at like, adios, amigos. So at any rate, this is what you're faced with, and it's not gonna happen like poof, but it could happen like just slow. You just see your rights deteriorating. You just see things getting worse and worse, and if you don't prepare for it, maybe it's 25 years, maybe it's 50 years. And what I'm telling you, if you don't prepare for it, then either you, depending on how young you are, or your children or your grandchildren will feel it. So just prepare, and that's why when you see people moving to Africa, you see people moving to Ghana, and you wonder, why are y'all moving to Ghana, Africa, when things are just terrible there, and they got a lot of problems there, and the people that are moving, look at what they're leaving, and they know that all the growth is coming east, baby, from the west to the east. That's where the growth is happening. Like, yeah, there's a lot of problems here in Ghana, boy. I can't even, y'all know, if you look at some of my older videos, I don't mind sharing the problems that exist in Ghana. But by the same token, there's a lot of opportunity here, guys. The growth is coming. The growth is, yeah. Do they have problems? You bet you they do. But are they dealing with those problems? Is there money flowing in? Yeah, that too. There's a lot of development happening in Ghana. And you can clearly see that Ghana is setting itself up to be a new industry powerhouse, right? May not happen in the next 5 years, but it's gonna happen. And as things get better in Africa, things will decline in America, in the West, period, right? From the West to the East, things will get better. In Asia, things will decline in the West. That's just how it is. The money is going to flow away from the West. And because the money is flowing, that means you won't have access to everything that you're used to. Now, let's say, okay, they're restructuring for these smart cities and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, some people are going to enjoy that stuff when it's restructured, but do you want to be a part of this restructuring? If they say, okay, yeah, we about to do agenda, whatever agenda is today, with the West. We're about to do the agenda 2030 or whatever it is this week, and we're gonna do away with like 50% of the population. So you see how they just casually say, they just easily say, to get everything and get all these little gadgets you want and to make everything good for you. Well, what you got to do it? We got to kill 50% of the population. So do you want to take a chance that you gonna be part of the 50% that get to enjoy what they're creating? Or will you be part of the 50% that they're gonna do away with? No, buddy, I'll take my chances somewhere else. I don't, those odds don't sound good to me. Because during all this restructuring that they're talking about doing, there's going to be some loss of lives. It doesn't mean they just going to outright come to your house and, you know, with a dagger or shoot you. But it does mean that you might get taken out by a pandemic, a plandemic, or whatever you want to call it. It does mean that you might starve. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people you guys don't deal with history, do you? That's what I get, you know. I'm like, if you just look at the history. Yeah. So, it's like, because we don't really study history, when we see things happening around us, we just be like, oh, the worst ain't gonna happen, and this ain't gonna happen. And I be sitting back like, why do you think it won't happen when we've seen it play out in history before? Like, why is there such a surprise? You know, I don't know, between 1958 and 62, 63, under Mao Zedong in China, his great leap forward, as he called it, where he's going to move China, you know, fast forward China from an agrarian society to like an industrial society somewhat. That led to the death of like 45, 50 million people. Just like that. Like, ooh, a great leap forward. They make it sound real good. China about to go through a great leap forward. Like so you're a citizen. We're about to move China forward. This is our great leap forward. So you hear that, you like, oh, China gonna move forward. But are you gonna be one of those 45, 50 million to die in the process? Do you want to take the odds? Do you want to take that odds? That, hey, I'm gonna enjoy this great leap forward? Boom, I'm gonna get done away with in this great leap. They're gonna leap on top of me in this great leap forward, and I'm not going to make it. This is what you're faced with in American agenda, this, that, and the other, where they're about to just restructure everything into these smart cities. And how many of you are going to make it to enjoy the smart city after it's restructured? You want to take the odds that you won't be part of one of those smart cities? I won't like those odds, especially if you have a problem taking that vaccine. Buddy, you will not be part of that smart city. I can tell you that right now. You don't take that vaccine, them booster shots, you ain't being part of no smart city. You can forget that one. And you insist on practicing your religion, odds are you won't be part of that smart city. So, you know, Christians and whatnot and what have you, odds are y'all won't be part of the smart city. Like, that's some changes gonna happen, and you gonna have to submit to those changes. So otherwise you gonna face starvation and poverty and persecution and, you know, the whole 9 yards. It's just history repeating itself. So what I'm telling you is go ahead and make your plans. Go ahead and purchase you some real estate where your little money still means something. Come over to Migrating Culture Crossing. Purchase some real estate. You still stay in the U.S. You still stay in Great Britain. You still stay in the West. But just lay some roots. Like, hey, I got a house there. If, you know, the worst pop off, I'm gone. Headed to my house in Africa at Migrating Culture Crossing. Listen, guys, I don't know what else to tell you. Don't wait till the last minute, you know, until it's too late. Go ahead and get your little funds together and come on over here. Get you a house for 50% off, half price house. See, because right now, somebody asked me, it was like, well, who wants to buy a house, Eric, and wait 3 years during the pandemic? That's not my problem. You know, we have people, customers who are buying now. They're buying during the pandemic, and they're waiting 3 years. If you want the discount, if you want the 50% discount, then you wait the 3 years. If you're not concerned about the discount and you just want to purchase at full price, then you want a payment plan, you wait 2 years, right? But I'm sorry, I can't deliver them with this deal like overnight, you know, so that can't happen. So what I'm telling you is that if you go ahead and start now and say, okay, I get this thing 50% off and it's going to take 3 years, even if it means you have to come here and rent a place. I mean, I rented, you know, when my house was being built, I rented. You know, that's what you do. And, yeah, so I'm telling you guys, don't wait to the last minute. Go ahead and lay your groundwork, and we'll be glad to have you at Migrating Culture Crossing, and you can learn more at our website at www.migratingculturecrossing.com. Okay, go find out about our half-price home promo there. You can see all of our models there. You can see all the current pricing there. And there's a huge, extensive frequently asked questions section there. There's virtual walkthroughs. There's video renderings. You got everything on the website, guys, so go check it out. If you like what we're talking about, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, give me your feedback, yeah, on where we go from here in the West. And also you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Eric McNeal. It's free. And as always, Ooorahhh Uhuru. Now be free.